Hey guys, Brad here once again, and we're here with another Wracked tutorial. This time we're going to be focusing on some of the visual aspects of making a map. The first two have largely been about just kind of getting off the ground and getting some basic things working. So I figured this time around we're going to focus more on making those things look nice. So we're going to go over some basic things like just kind of getting your faces to look correct as far as texturing goes. And then we're going to take a look at lighting. We're going to make sure that you can get your maps lit correctly and light mapped correctly. And hopefully by the time we're done with this, you'll be able to make something like this. Ooh, fancy. So my goal is for you to be able to make something like this. Hopefully in your your own style and everything. By the end of this. All right. So why don't we get started here? I'm going to trash this. Unfortunately, do I want to save changes? No. It's gone forever. Okay, so why don't we get started here? Now, I'm assuming that you have your texture packs loaded correctly and everything all configured correctly. If you don't know how to do all that, you're going to want to take a look at the first two tutorials. But I'd rather just get into the new stuff here versus going over that all again. Okay, so I'm just going to start here by making a basic room here. I'm going to go to prism mode by hitting P. So to create a room, remember, we're going to go counterclockwise and then drag upwards. Okay, and then we hit enter, and our little room is created here. Okay, so let's now we have a basic room here. But why don't we start by changing some of the textures on here? If you want to change the appearance, or really just any of the properties of a face, you're going to want to highlight it, and then you're going to right-click on it to bring up the edit dialog. This first tab here is all about appearance, and that's really what we're going to be focusing on in this tutorial. Why don't we start by changing the texture? I'm going to go here with this floor, this hexagonal tile floor texture. Then we're going to click OK. Okay, I like that. And then let's see here. Why don't we change the Cage's ceiling here? I'm going to use this dark brick texture. Okay. Now, okay. The next thing I think we're going to focus on is making the walls here look pretty. So basically, if you want to detail something, a lot of times what you're going to do is you're going to go into vertex mode by hitting V. Now let's say I want this part here to be not as long. Generally, what you're going to want to do to change that is you're going to actually manipulate the vertices of that face. So you can do that by usually you go into vertex mode and you go in the top view, and then you select both of the top and bottom vertices using this multi-selection box. So I'm just left-clicking and dragging, and then that makes this box appear over the vertices. So I'm selecting both of these top and bottom ones by doing this. If I didn't do that, I would just be dragging one of these, and that's not really what we're after. So I'm going to use this multi-selection box to select both of these, and then I'm going to drag them like that. And then we're going to do that again on the other side. Okay, so as you can see, this isn't aligned correctly. So that brings us to our next little topic, which is offsets. Now, if you right-click on a face here, we're going to right-click on this. It brings up the edit face dialog. What's kind of neat about this is that when you change these various properties here, it updates the face in real time. So if I take this window and move it out of the way so I can see the face and the window at the same time, I can do things here and watch how it's going to affect that face. So if I play with this, if I give that something, it does that. If I change a scale, it updates the scale on that in real time. So I mean, you can really get a feel for what you're doing. You can see if you're doing what you intend to do, and have the proper values or not. But basically, anytime you play with these offsets, it's going to scroll the texture in a certain direction. X goes along the horizontal axis. So if I play with these, you can see it's scrolling horizontally. 64 is what we want, and then if we scroll it upwards, the Y offset controls the vertical axis, and these values, they correspond to actual world units. So as you can see, like if I had this right here, like it would be correct because we're starting at 0, and then this is 128. Basically, everything kind of operates on a grid. So if I move 64 units off that grid, because I'm moving it 64 units down, then to correct that, you have to come here and set your offset by 64. Now, there's another way to do this, and it's I don't recommend using it except for really extreme circumstances. But there's something called texture locking, and that here, if I go to the properties and click on this texture locked box, now anytime I move this or do anything, it's not going to update what's called the texture coordinates on the face. It's always going to, the texture is always going to be mapped the exact same way on the face, no matter no matter what I do with it. And that goes for even if I go into vertex and stretch it out in various ways, it's still going to be mapped over that face in the same way. So but the thing is, if you move things around or change properties, like say I go here and I change the offset, it's not going to be reflected here. So you kind of like what the hell? Why isn't this working kind of situation sometimes. So again, I mean, you really don't want to use this in too many circumstances. You'll kind of figure out for your own when you want to use that. But anyway, okay. I think hope that makes some sense. But okay. So now I've put this over here. Now I want to put some decorative brown supports around that. So I want to put some more faces here and here. So I'm just going to take this and I'm going to copy paste it using Control C, Control V. Now let's see. We don't really need this offset here, and that offset came from the face that I just copied and pasted. But I'm going to select one of these nice little supports here, and then I want the same one to be over here, so I'm going to copy paste that. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. Now, as you remember before, this was kind of slanted, and the way you do that is again with a vertex edit mode. So I'm going to go into vertex edit mode by hitting V. And then I'm going to select these vertices down here using the multi-selection box. And then I'm going to bump these out here just by clicking and dragging in this side view here. Okay, so that gives us this nice little thing here. And then let's see here. I'm gonna put a new face there, and I'm hitting C to go into face creation mode. Hopefully you remember that from, I think, tutorial 2, was it? But anyway, what's the texture I'm looking for? There it is. Okay, so as you can see, this isn't quite what I wanted. And that takes us to our next little property here, which is rotation. You can go up to this little box here, and you could play with you can actually rotate the texture. If it's not pointing the way you want it to. So I mean, we could put it at 45, in which case you can see it's a 45-degree angle. 45-degree angle. We actually want to rotate this 90 degrees, so let's do that. Oh, and look at that. It worked perfectly. I didn't even have to do any extra adjustments after that or anything. Okay, so alright, cool. So what do we want to do now? I guess we want to fill in these little triangular areas here. I'm going to fill those in with these brown supports, so I'm going to copy paste. And then I want to rotate this. I could hit O to go to the rotate menu, but I don't know. To me, that's a little annoying sometimes. So I'm just going to hit V to go into vertex edit mode, and I'm just going to drag these vertices over here. Okay, cool. So now we have that filled in. Now, as you can see, there's we have this kind of jetting out here. It's kind of going outside the map. That's not really a problem. I mean, there's nothing really wrong with that. The engine's not gonna have any issue with that. It's not going to cause any problems or anything. But I don't know. I like to be tidy. So I'm going to make it so that this fits. Basically, this just needs to be a triangle here. You know, as you can see, this makes a little triangular shape. This doesn't have to be a rectangle. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to delete this vertex here. So I'm going to select this face. I'm going to go into vertex edit mode, hitting V again. Then I'm going to click on that vertex to select it. And then I'm going to hit delete. Poof. And as you can see, that is gone, and now it fits very snugly. So I think that's what we're after. Okay, so now that's been all set up, I'm going to copy paste this to the other side. Now, as you can see, this is facing the wrong way. This little tick mark here is going outwards. So if we fly over here, you know, you can see it facing that way, and that's not what we're after. So I'm gonna hit I to flip it, and poof, now it's all set. Okay, so excellent. It looks like we almost have this wall here all set up. Very nice. I'm gonna put some a brick texture here. So let's here copy paste, right click to edit its properties, and then I'm gonna select this little tan brick texture up here, which I like. And then I'm gonna copy paste that over there to fill in that gap. And then I'm gonna slant these. I'm gonna make a little beveled corner here. Okay, so let's do that. There we go. Look at that. That's looking quite nice. Alright, so I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna have the same thing going on with this wall over here. So I'm gonna control left click all of these to select multiple faces at once. And then I'm going to control C, control V, poof. Then I'm going to put this over here where I want, left click to drop it in place. Then I'm going to flip this. I'm going to flip this horizontally along this axis. So to do that, I'm going to hit H. Okay, cool. But as you see now everything's kind of backwards, so that's not what we want. So we're going to hit I again, and poof, there we go. Everything is clicking into place. Very nice, very nice. As we see, everything is aligned here nicely, so we don't have to adjust anything. Very good, very good. So, okay, now let's do the same kind of thing over here. I'm going to put a player start here. Like, I'm going to have this be where we're coming from. And to do that, I'm just hitting T to go into thing mode, and then I'm right-clicking to create something new. In this case, what we're creating is a player start. You can see, whoops. Well, here if I right-click, you can see that's a player start. That happens to be the default object, so whenever I right-click to create something new, it's going to make a player start automatically. Okay, so let's. I'm gonna make this a door that we came from. Okay, that's now the proper door length. I'm going to make this a brown door. Kind of the convention that I've been using is that a brown door is one that you can open, or that has to be opened through a switch. And then a green one is one that opens automatically when you walk up to it. So, okay, we can see just by looking at this that this isn't aligned correctly. So I'm going to put 64 in for that. Okay, poof. And that's all set. Now, let's see here. I'm going to put the brown supports in, so again, I'm going to copy-paste those. Alright, and let's hear. We want this to be bumped out a little bit. Let's see, I'm gonna adjust the grid here by using the little bracket keys. But we want this to be bumped out, let's say 16 units. So I'm gonna bump that out there. Now I'm gonna put a light here. Again, I'm just going to copy-paste, not to do the exact same thing, but just to kind of get a face there. Because sometimes that's easier than just creating a new face. Now, I want to put some lights here along the door, so I'm going to use wall trim light. Looks good. Let's copy-paste that to the other side. Flip. So there we go. That's all set. Now we're missing a floor and a ceiling here, so I'm going to do both of those at once. So I'm just going to select both the floor and the sand at the same time using the control key. And then I'm going to copy paste, and then I'm going to drag these over here. And now to adjust these, I'm going to go into vertex mode. Then I'm going to select those, select these, and poof, that should be all set. That looks good. Okay, and then we want to. I'm going to put a green door on the other side to imply that it's one that you can walk through. So let's kind of just have the same deal over there. Again, a lot of copy pasting. That's all right. All right, so I flipped these vertically this time. So I used J to do that, and then I used I to flip it again. And I know I'm probably going a little fast here, but I guess you can watch these multiple times or ask questions in the forums. Now, again, I'm using the green door because I want to imply that it's something you can walk through. You know, it's the correct way to go. And then this brown door here, we're implying that it's sealed, and that you can't go through it. Now I'm gonna tidy up one more thing before I get to the ceiling and the lights. But as you can see, that this is like an octagonal shaped room, but the floor is a square. Again, that's not a problem, but I don't know about you guys, but I'm pretty anal about things. So I really like to clean this up and have it be exact. So basically, what I'm gonna do is each one of these lines here that makes up the floor, I'm gonna split it up. So that we can have these so that we can have the floor match up exactly with the shape of the walls. Okay, so to do that, I'm going to go into line mode. And basically, line mode, it's like a more complex version of vertex edit mode. You're basically moving two vertices around at once. Well, part of what's nice about line mode is that you can use where is it? Damn it. Oh, here we go. We can use the split lines command to split a line in half. So basically, anytime we need to add a vertex, we just go into line mode, we select the line we want to split, and then we come up here to split lines. So if we do that, poof, look at that, we have an extra vertex here. So now we can drag this one here, and then we can drag this one here, and then if we fly outside, hey, look at that. Now our floor is all set, at least in that corner. So we just need to do the other. We just need to do this for the others. Now I'm going to use a control click to select multiple lines, and then I'm going to do this, and it's going to do that for all of them, so I don't have to click split lines a billion times. Okay, cool. So this our floor should be all set. Look at that, it looks good. Now we just want to do the same thing to the ceiling. You can do. You don't have to go into line selection mode to do that. You can just select a face, hit a split lines, and it'll for each of the faces lines, it'll split them. So again, yeah, it's a little time saving technique. There we go. Okay, cool. So now our ceiling is all set. It's aligned, all looking all nice and pretty. Of course, but I'm probably going to delete this in just a second because we're about to put in a light. We're about to put in our first light. Awesome. Okay. So let's see here. How do I want to do this? You know, I'm just going to delete this. Poof. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put like a little lighting structure here in the center of the ceiling, and then I think I'll recreate that brown brick ceiling around that. So let's hear. I'm going to start by going into face creation mode, and I'm going to. I don't know if I'm doing this correct. No, I'm not actually. See, I'm making a floor, but we're just going to hit I to correct that and drag that up here. Okay, so this is the start of our little ceiling. And the texture I'm going to use for that is this. And then let's put our actual light in there. Let's see. Oops. Now see this first one was 64. This was supposed to be 64, but I screwed that up. So I'm just going to do Control Z, and then hey, that vertex is picked up once again. So that's nice. All right, so we got our little light. We just need to give it a texture. I'm going to give it this one here. This one is my favorite. Now, as you can see, this is not aligned correctly. Let's start by let's start with the X offset. Oops, I think I went too far. 32. That looks and sounds correct. Let's do the same thing for the Y offset. I'm guessing that's going to be 32 as well. And hey, what do you know? That looks correct. Okay, so alright, well we got our light there. Now we just kind of need something on the side of it so it doesn't look like it's a light floating in midair. So I'm going to hit C to go into face creation mode. Okay, so we got this part here. Now we need to give this a texture. And let's see here. I want the warning stripes. Where are they? Here we go. Here we go. Okay. Now, as you can see, this isn't fitting quite well. It's too big. So what we're going to do is we're going to scale that in half. Now, as you can see, like the default scale on most things is 0.25, which is 1/4. And basically, what that means is that most of the textures in Wrack are 512 by 512. Yet that size texture is meant to cover 128 map units. So basically, you have to scale it down by a factor of 4 to make it fit in that space. So that's where we're getting this 0.25 number from. Now, if you want that to be scaled down even more, let's say 8 times, then you're going to do 1/8, which is 0.125. So let's try putting that in. And hey, what do you know? Lo and behold, that works perfectly. Yeah, so I mean, some textures, I mean, sometimes you want a texture to fit into a smaller area. So that's part of what the scale properties allow you to do. Okay, so we have one side of this, so I'm going to copy paste. So we can do the rest of this. Paste again, flip. Got to make sure the tick mark is facing out the correct way. And then let's do this one more time. And then vertex edit mode, and just get, the tick mark is facing out, so that's probably the correct way. And hey, everything looks good. Okay, next, see, this whole structure is raised up above our ceiling, so we need some kind of face here. Alright, let's put that there. Okay, we need a texture for here, and I'm going to use, where is it? I'm going to use this one here because I like it very much. Okay, that looks correct. I thought I was going to have to align that, but apparently not. And then I'm going to copy paste to get the rest of this in. Paste again. Paste again. Now, actually, I want this to be facing inwards. This isn't correct, so I'm going to flip it. And hey, there it is. Alright, so we use the camera to look around, do a little inspection, make sure everything worked correctly. And it looks like it did. Hooray! So, alright, the last thing we need to do before we move on to the lighting is finish the filling in this little area here. Now, let's see here. I'm going to let's create the ceiling this way. Now, where is it? Where is it? There it is. Let's give it that dark brick texture once again. Okay, so that corner is filled in. That looks correct. And then let's put another one here. Oops, that wasn't right. There we go. Vertex edit mode to the rescue. Now, instead of going and selecting that texture again, I'm going to do a little shortcut here. I'm just going to right-click on this, and the texture is automatically highlighted, or selected. I guess selected. So I can just easily hit copy once I come in here, hit cancel, and then right-click here and paste. And there we go. Now they have the exact same texture, which is awesome. Okay, so now we're gonna use these to kind of do the other sides. Okay, so I'm gonna do Control C, Control V, and then I want to rotate this 120 degrees. So while I'm in this window, I'm gonna hit O to rotate. I don't know how well that works, but all right. I'm gonna have to change that later. Okay, so we're gonna flip this. We're gonna rotate this 180 degrees. So let's do that. Okay, so we have our back side, and then let's paste again. Rotate 90. So that gives us this side, and then finally for the last one, we're gonna do 270. And again, you don't have to do it this way. I mean, you could make it all manually, but being able to rotate and copy paste those, it just really speeds up your process a whole bunch, and that's a wonderful thing. Okay, so this is coming together. This is looking good. I'm digging this. I think really this is all set, except for the lighting, and that's what we're gonna do next. So basically, if you want to see the preview of how your map is lit and how it's going to appear in Wrack, basically you're going to come over to this little light bulb here, and you're going to click this. And as you can see, everything is very dark, which is not what we're after. So basically, the way lighting works in Wrack is that there's two components to it. There's face lighting, which is the base lighting on a face, and you can see that by right-clicking on a face and coming down here to where it says light, and then where this property is its overall face light. This is like the minimum lighting that a face can have, and it's out of 255. So 64 is like 1/4 brightness. So as you can see, all right. So I'm gonna turn the lighting back on. So if I put this back to 255, let's say, then it's appearing fully bright. So if I try this out in Wrack, it should pretty much appear just like this, which is accurate, but it's not good. It's not what we're after. Okay, well, hey, that's so far everything I've said has been correct. So try not to lead you astray. Okay, but I mean, hopefully that shows you how just kind of a basic face lighting works. For those of you who are familiar with Doom editing, like, you can kind of think of that as sector lighting. I mean, really, in principle, it works pretty much the exact same way. But of course, you know, this is 2012. We want more lighting options than that. So we have point lights, and we have spotlights, and all sorts of magical, wonderful things. Okay, so why don't we get started with adding an actual ceiling light? You know, something coming from this light up here. So I'm gonna hit T to go into thing mode, and then I'm going to right-click where I want to put a light. Let's put it right there. Of course, we don't want this to be a player start. So let's right-click on this to bring up this menu here. We're gonna go up to Invisible Map Object, and we're looking for Light Object, which is descended from that. So I'm going to click OK to change its type. So we have a light here. It just doesn't have any properties it doesn't have any properties set up to make it actually shine any light. So basically, we're gonna right-click on the light, and then we're gonna go to Extended Properties, and this is really where all the magic happens as far as a light goes. You can change the light's color, you can change its intensity, and you can change how far it goes. You can also change the way it fades out. If you have it set to none, basically the light is going to be fully luminous wherever it touches. And then linear, it's like a more gradual fade out, and then quadratic is a more extreme fade out. So let's just kind of illustrate my point here. Let's go with no fade out whatsoever. For the intensity, let's put 1, and then for the radius, let's put 128. So basically, you can see that anywhere, anything within this light's radius, which is 128, it's going to be lit up. It's going to add one to a. It's basically going to be fully bright in that within that radius. So if I drag this light around here, you can see you can see what's being affected by it. So if I right click on it again and I expand its radius to, I don't know, 192, you see it's touching most of the room at this point. And then let's so okay, so I mean you can see like it's not really fading out at all. Pretty much everywhere it touches, for the most part, is fully bright. And the reason it's not completely fully bright everywhere it touches, it's not important. Don't worry about it. But it's an angular based attenuation. Anyway, we're not going to go into that now. Okay, so obviously we probably don't want it to work that way. We probably want it to fade out more quickly than that. So we're going to change the fade type to linear. And as you can see, I mean it's a more natural looking light now. This is kind of what you would expect in terms of how a light to work. And then if I go to quadratic, you should see it fade out even more. Yeah. So I kind of think of this as for like if you want something to be like very lightly very very brightly lit, very close to it, but you don't want that light going anywhere else. Then I mean quadratic kind of makes some sense, but I don't know. I think linear for the most part is just fine for just about everything. And as you can see, like if you change the light properties up here, like for instance, let's make this just red. So let's zero out the green and blue properties. Then hey, we have a red light. Look at that. That gives the room a different feel, doesn't it? If I want to make yellow, what is that? Red and green. Yeah, there we go. See, now we have a yellow light. And then if I want to saturate that a little more, or desaturate that a little more, I can do that. But yeah, so, I mean, for the most part, I think you're going to want to use 111 for all that. And then let's see here for the intensity. Let's put like points. Well, that's not enough. Actually, let's make the radius a little bigger. Let's make this 1. I still don't think that radius is enough. How about 384? Let's get crazy with it. Okay. That's looking pretty good. That's looking like a. I think we could probably go a little brighter. Let's try 512. All right, that's pretty bright. If we wanted to hit the ceiling a little more, we can drag this down. And you can see the shadows being updated on that part in real time, which is pretty nice. Okay, so all right, so at this point, when you load your map in Wrack, it's basically the lighting from non-dynamic lights it's light mapped. So if you don't pre-build the light map ahead of time, it's just going to go by it's going to just really crudely build a light map on its own. If you go into the console, you can come up here and see light map built in 0.001 seconds. There's not going to be a lot of detail on the lighting. There isn't going to be any shadows. There won't be any ambient occlusion. So basically, I mean, if you don't, we want to pre-build the light map. Otherwise, it's not going to look nice. I mean, as you can see, this is kind of like the way we have it lit, but it's not exact. There's no shadow up there. There's no ambient occlusion. The lighting isn't. There's not a lot of detail on the lighting. So let's take a look at how to light map the map. Basically, first, you're going to want to configure your light map settings. So you're going to go to Settings, General Settings, Light Map, and then these this shows you your general properties for creating a light map. So you can make it have shadows. You can make it not have shadows. In our case, we want shadows because they look nice. Damn it. As far as resolution goes, this is kind of the detail of the light map. The higher this is, like the more crisp your shadows are going to be. The lower it is, the fuzzier your light map is going to be. 1x is the resolution Wrack uses when you load it up without pre-building it all. So if for whatever reason you want it to be even lower detail than that, I mean you go to like 0.5 or 0.25. I guess that could be useful if you're just kind of really testing things out quick and don't want to spend a lot of time building the light map over and over. But I'm going to put this to 8x. And just FYI, all the maps in Wrack are using 8x for their resolution. If you go higher than that, I mean the amount of memory your light map can take up can be pretty huge. And also, I don't know, it's like it looks too exact. Like I don't know, it's like shadows should be a little fuzzier than they are at 16x. So I'm using 8x for everything. And then blur 1 is fine. I don't know. That probably shouldn't even be there. Ambient occlusion. That's kind of like fuzziness along corners. You can Google that to see what that's all about. But basically, it makes corners and walls look pretty. So we're gonna leave that on and turn that to 16x, and 1 is what we're gonna use for that. Okay, so we're gonna click OK. So we have all those settings set. Basically, so what we're going to do now is we're going to, when we go to save the map, we're not going to go save map, we're not going to go save as. This is the one we want, save with light map. So we're going to click that, and then we gotta pick a map name. Let's see, tutorial 3, how about that? Okay, so as you can see, that didn't take very long. So now that it's all set, the light map's been built, it's saved and everything. We can go play map, and if everything worked correctly, the light map should be included, and everything should look pretty. Did it work? Did it work? No. What happened? I don't think it did work. Let's see here. Yeah, light map built in 0.21. That's not right. Let's move this. Just to force it to need to be rebuilt. Now, okay. Normally, if your map needs to be saved, there's going to be a star here. But if the light map needs to be rebuilt too, there's going to be a little plus here. So as you can see, like it thinks the lighting's changed. So now, if you want to play the map with a light map, you have to rebuild it. So we're going to file save with light map again. There could be a bug where if you save the map the first time and try and light map it, it doesn't work. I'm hoping that's what happened. So let's give this another try. Oh, hey, it worked. Awesome, awesome, awesome. As you can see, there are shadows up there on that light now, and there are fuzzy shadowy corners there. That's the ambient occlusion. And also this bloom effect here on these lights. That's done automatically. Yeah, each texture you can map it to a bloom texture. It's the same for that light, but the texture will automatically bloom when you use it. There's nothing special you have to do through the editor. Alright, well I think we're all set here. Look at that looks so nice. That's like our first little room. Alright, so let's exit out of here. And hey, I think that about wraps it up. Hopefully now you have an idea of how to create a little room and set some of the basic properties. You know how to align textures and scale them, and hopefully have an understanding of how lighting works and how to set the base lighting for a face, and how to do a little simple point light, and how to light map it all. All right. Well, if you've enjoyed this video, if you found it helpful, make sure you subscribe so you can get instantly notified for when I put out more of these things. And hey, I think that about wraps it up. All right. Well, take care, everyone.